Hello and happy Wednesday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now. Yesterday we talked about a new law that could possibly be banning cell phones in cars. You guys had a lot of questions. We found you some answers.
Plus, extra virgin olive oil versus Alzheimer's. Kind of a weird but very interesting study.
And lots of children have allergies. Is there a way to have those allergies reversed? We'll look into it.
This is News Center now.
Happy first day of summer, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Amanda Hill. Finally, a nice day.
Absolutely.
Of summer. We're here. We're doing this. All right, we'll get to weather in a moment. But first, we have an interesting story here. Imagine sitting in an emergency hospital bed for weeks. Not because you're sick, but because you either have an intellectual disability, you have autism, and you're in crisis.
Yeah, according to case management workers, when an adult with disabilities is in limbo or waiting for some services or support, they could go into crisis mode. And when they do, the only place that can help is full. So they end up in hospitals or even worse, in jail.
They're taking up space that's meant for medical emergencies simply because there is literally nowhere else to go. And part of the solution right now lies in the hands of the legislature. At the Progress Center in Norway, adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities work on skills like sewing. Here they have help integrating into their communities. But Ashley Barker, director of case management at the center, says many others get caught in between services on a so-called waiting list.
So we have a client that currently is unable to access the services that he needs.
Finding the right residential fit has been a challenge, something caseworkers throughout the state have seen.
If you can't get residential, then it's difficult to get to school, it's difficult to get to community supports, it's difficult to get to work. And it kind of all piles on until you've created a crisis situation.
Crisis situation could mean anything from that individual harming themselves or others to becoming homeless. And the number of crisis beds for those individuals has dropped by nearly half. All 7 of them are full, which is why so many others end up in emergency rooms or in trouble. A spokesperson with the Department of Health and Human Services said in part, in the last biennial budget, the governor sought an increase of $46 million in funding to reduce waiting lists for services for the intellectually and developmentally disabled. Ultimately, the legislature only funded a portion of these requests, $16 million for the wait lists, leaving considerable funding requirements for our neediest and most vulnerable Mainers, end quote. Right now, a bill sits in the legislature, LD 967, that would increase the amount social workers are reimbursed. Right now, they make close to minimum wage, Barker says. And in a high-stress job, most don't stick around long, which is part of why there are no crisis beds left, leaving clients like hers to fall through the cracks.
He could be extremely independent. He could be somebody who would be successful in his community, that would have a job and have a relationship with other individuals and contribute to other people. And that's what's important.
LD 967 is on hold right now in the Appropriations Committee.
This is pretty cool. A first-year medical student from the University of New England embarked on a really unique adventure today. She checked herself into a nursing home for a 10-day stay.
Yeah, not as herself, but as an 85-year-old woman who just suffered a stroke. Students who take part in the project call it life-changing, not just in a way that it helps them professionally, but also on a personal level. The staff at St. Andre's Healthcare Facility in Biddeford will ignore the fact that Saray Sager is 23 years old, and they will treat her like all the other residents. She will be bathed, eat pureed food, and be on a medication regimen. Her professor says what Saray gets here in 10 days is something she just can't get from an entire semester in a classroom. She hopes to gain new perspective on the profession she plans to go into and the people she'll be caring for.
When they come to see me as a physician in the future, I can really be sensitive to what they're going through and what they need.
There's no way I can teach this. There is absolutely no way to teach this project.
Saray will be discharged from St. Andre's a week from Friday. We plan to be there to learn about her experience and bring it to you.
Alzheimer's cases in America are on the rise, and doctors are trying to figure out why as they hunt for a cure to the most common form of dementia. Medical professionals announcing this week that they might have found a connection between extra virgin olive oil and well-preserved neurons in the brain. The Temple University research found mice that consistently ingested extra virgin olive oil had less inflammation and fewer early signs of Alzheimer's. The scientists are hoping to dive further into that health and what effects that olive oil may have. Now, our favorite scientist.
Is he?
Do I have to say
that?
Is he
our favorite?
Who wrote that?
That
Did
was
Keith write this?
You didn't write that.
Keith, did you write this?
Bill Nye
Keith,
would be
I love
so offended. By the way, we had extra virgin olive oil today in the 8 pieces of pizza we were served, right? It's in there somewhere. Nice day today. We've been in this pattern where we've seen decreasing amount of thunderstorms, quite a few Monday, a decent amount yesterday, now just a few scattered ones in these clouds back here and through the mountains. You can see it popping up on the radar. These are actually largely showers, not registering that much in the way of lightning, but an occasional lightning strike not out of the question as these move on through. They're kind of drying out as they move off to the east. Presque Isle getting in on at Grand Falls and just coming out of Eagle Lake. But for southern Maine and coastal Maine, these showers will not get there, and the rest of the afternoon and evening are going to be pleasant. Temperatures upper 70s over southern Maine, mid 70s, and then even some 60s up towards Greenville and Caribou. The humidity has been pushed out of the air, so it's a lot more comfortable, and it's allowing overnight lows to drop. So tonight we'll see temperatures in the 50s for the most part, and we're getting into the kind of air mass where you don't need air conditioning. You can get by with just a fan, and that will continue tomorrow as well with dry conditions. Guys, tomorrow looks like the best day of the work week. Tons of sunshine, a high right around 80.
All right. Governor may soon sign into law a bill that would ban most handheld devices from the driver's seat.
Yeah, I told you about this yesterday after it was approved by both the Maine House and the Senate. Using a handheld device, such as a cell phone, would be illegal while you drive. Now, that doesn't just mean texting. It also means you couldn't dial the phone or hold it up to your ear while you're talking. If this becomes law, Maine would become the 15th state in America to go completely hands-free. Because the bill affects a lot of people, a lot of you had a lot of questions. That's a lot. So we are going to tackle a few of those for you right now.
Yeah, we're going to start with someone going by the name Tim asks on Facebook, doesn't Maine already have a distracted driving law? He then goes on to ask, what good is another law if they don't enforce the law they already have that covers this crime? Now, the bill's sponsor, Senator Bill Diamond, says the previous law left open a sort of loophole.
We have a no texting law now, as you know, but we don't have a law that says you can't hold the phone and punch in numbers. And so when the police officers stop people and say you can't be texting, the answer oftentimes is, well, I wasn't texting, I was just typing in a number. But they were still looking down for a second or a second and a half, and that's what makes it so dangerous. We've had serious accidents around this country in the state of Maine.
All right, a lot of you had similar questions about enforcement of this law, including Rick, who says enforcement is really the first step. So we took a look at some of the numbers, and this is what they showed us. The Maine State Police says in the last 2 years, they've administered more than 400 warnings for texting while driving and about 750 summons. For the broader infraction of distracted driving, state police warned about 1,800 drivers and summoned about 800. Senator Diamond says the Maine State Police have worked closely with him on this new bill and hopes it will make enforcement a little bit easier.
And John brings up taxi drivers and how they rely on radios to get their next call. Stephen asks about how this law would affect first responders. So looking at this bill, there are specific exemptions listed. First, it explicitly states that a handheld electronic device does not include a band radio or two-way radio. It also says this law would be waived in an emergency. If you needed to call the police or emergency services, you could pick up your cell phone. The bill, however, does not exactly state how law enforcement would be expected to adhere to the proposed law.
Thank you for all of your questions on this topic, and we're happy to get you some answers. All right, hey, guess what? Google wants to help you find a job. Learn about the new search feature coming up. Plus,
but a lot of parents run out of the forms, so they use anything that they can use in their house.
This school secretary has seen it all, the crazy notes parents send her in a pinch, and one dad who may be the master of creative communication. Are you on the hunt for a new job? Google wants to help out. They launched Google for Jobs, which allows you to see a list of available jobs in your area. Type jobs near me, and Google will compile a list for you using other services such as careerbuilder.com or LinkedIn. Then you can narrow down your choices, filtering by position or date posted. But then you do ultimately get redirected to a career site. So Google is more a first step than really a catch-all tool. And once you find that dream job, you might be interested in buying that dream home.
Or any home. But as we have said before, not exactly a buyer's market right now. According to new numbers from the Maine Association of Realtors, there aren't enough houses out there to keep the buyers happy, which leads to an almost 9% decline in sales this past May. But a lack of supply and high demand means that the price of a home is going up, about a 5% increase in the median sales price.
All right, that was a quick one, but we got a lot more coming up.
To pass the challenge at the end, they'll have to eat 24 peanuts in one sitting.
Can you cure kids of their allergies by having them eat the very foods they're allergic to? We'll meet one family that's giving it a try.
And summer is starting off correctly. Keith will be back with a pretty stellar Thursday forecast. Coming up.
Lee, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Hectic mornings before school, gotta make the kids breakfast, gotta dress them, gotta make sure they have all their lunches together, all the homework stuff, anything that you gotta sign. Do you even remember at that point?
This is my life every day.
And at that point, you
Always.
just try to write on like whatever you can if you have to like sign something super last minute, right?
I call it survival mode.
Survival
just trying
mode.
to get through the morning.
2 crucial hours every morning, Monday through Friday. Well, a dad in Wells did exactly that for the bus notes he sends with his kid to Wells Elementary School. His bus notes that he sent with his son William were so bad that the secretary actually called him out for it, so he came up with something unique.
Hope you stay cool. William is riding home with his grandmother today.
This isn't your average bus note from parents at Wells Elementary School. Normally, it's a simple form.
But a lot of parents run out of the forms, so they use anything that they can use in their house.
But it wasn't working out for William and his dad.
Well, William was bringing in stuff on what looked like toilet paper, ended up being paper towels, the margins of newspapers, and I'm like, I pull it out of the folder and go, really, William? I mean, is this what, you know? So I asked his grandmother one day, I said, do they need me to buy them a pad of paper? Do they not have paper in the house? Like, look at these bus notes. And she started laughing.
That's when he decided he needed to step up his game in a hilarious and creative way.
This was a garland one that has a word on it for every flower, which is hilarious because, of course, I had to type these up.
From a message in a bottle to the bus note being delivered by the Pony Express.
Of course, the edible ones are the best.
Every morning is a brand new surprise.
When she laughs, it actually sort of makes me smile a bit because it's just fun to make other people laugh.
What's so cool about it is it doesn't have technology. It's not cell phones. It's not iPads. It's something he's doing with his parents at home and going, how are we going to get Chris the next day?
Super creative. Well, the dad was way too camera shy for an interview, but here are a few other examples. This one is like a creepy ransom note. There it is.
Oh.
Yeah, I wonder how long that took.
Looks like Liam Neeson made that one or something.
And this one was actually from the last day of school. It says, plunge into summer, don't worry. It's a brand new plunger, totally unused. At least I hope so, or at least that's what they told me.
See, now for me, I wouldn't have time to get that creative with my signs. I don't know how you have that much time.
Especially in the
to
morning,
do that.
yeah. I mean, I think luckily he doesn't have any like siblings, so it's definitely a different environment than your house would, you know,
or
do
Keith
pretty
would
much.
say 25 kids.
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
You have like
it is Survivor. It's harder than any of the islands that they send these Survivor people. Eating bugs, whatever. Just try to get through my house in the morning. That's Survivor.
I feel like that would
There's
be like a
game
really
show.
good episode of Survivor.
I should get $1 million for
You
surviving
should.
that.
Just shop it around, see who gets it.
Yeah. Okay.
Day in the life of Lee Goldberg.
All right, now hits the road Friday. This time we're talking all about the Casco Bay Islands. Katie Bavosa will have a special Maine Mysteries story for us. She's going to take us out to Jewel Island.
It's remote, it's beautiful, it's popular with campers, and also might be connected to one of the most notorious pirates who ever sailed the 7 seas. But how true is that legend? We'll have the answer for you Friday when we take our show on the road to Peaks Island. And Friday, we got a chance.
Nice.
We got a chance.
It's rained every Friday that we've tried to go. That we've gone on the road. Every Friday it has rained so far.
The Narrows Bridge was the worst.
That was you notice Amanda didn't go to that one.
She should not.
I'm not going to this one either.
Yeah. She's not showing up.
Vacation.
Terrible. Staycation?
You're not supposed to announce that, remember?
Sorry.
No, it's a staycation, so it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, yeah,
she's not posting where she's going or anything. We got a chance on Friday. Tomorrow's really nice, though. Let's start with that. And we got a few showers and storms out there. Most of us, though, in the clear. Look along the coastline, the interior, nice, sunny. It's going to be a nice night as well. But we do have a few showers out here across northern Maine, the mountains. Most of these have been disintegrating as they try to go downhill. The air dries and warms typically as it goes downhill. So when that happens with these showers, they pretty much peter out to just a few cumulus clouds. Showers coming up through here. Grand Falls seeing some thunderstorm activity, but those are sailing out quickly. Nice and refreshing out there. Our air mass changed late yesterday afternoon and more notably last night, and now it's pretty crisp with dew points in the 40s and 50s. We'll stay that way through tomorrow. The humidity, though, will return to the forecast on Friday. You know, as summer goes on, it gets harder and harder to get the dew points low and keep them low. The air mass wants to be more humid on a southwest flow, and that will come back again late in the week. So we had a little disturbance today. That's what gave us at least a catalyst for a few showers and thunderstorms. None of that tomorrow, though. High pressure almost directly overhead. It will be beautiful on Thursday. It is worth noting, though, because high pressure is right overhead and winds are light, there will be a naturally occurring sea breeze in the afternoon. So if you're thinking about the beach, I'd recommend a little bit earlier because that sea breeze will kick in later in the day. High pressure moves out on Thursday afternoon. Showers start the day on Friday. The middle part of the day on Friday might actually be pretty decent and warm. That southwest flow is going to be juicy. We'll see dew points increasing, temperatures increasing, and then the cold front approaches with some thunderstorms coming through on Friday night, early Saturday morning, but by Saturday midday, we're in good shape. So hour by hour forecast, any showers die out tonight. Beautiful through the day tomorrow. Again, that sea breeze kicks in. And then showers start on Friday morning. A few showers and storms Friday afternoon as well. The general signal, though, gets a little frothy as we head into mid next week, which could produce some slightly cooler temperatures. But keep in mind, cooler this time of year is around 70 or so. Weekend looking good. Again, a morning shower on Saturday. And then we're back to some nice weather Saturday afternoon. Sunday looks good. I put a stray afternoon storm in on Sunday. I think the chances of that are in the 10 to 15% range. And again, maybe a little cooler, a little wetter mid next week, but don't be too concerned about that. The long range signal as we head towards the 4th of July goes back to warm again.
Okay.
So just kind of going back and forth as summer often does.
That's fine.
Yeah, it happens.
Good luck with it. Thank you. When you have a child who has dangerous food allergies, the obvious way to protect them is to keep them away from that food.
Now medical professionals think they can reverse a child's allergy by slowly exposing them to the dangerous food.
I have a lot of questions about this story already. It hasn't started yet. Allergy shots have been around for a while, but doctors are also trying a different approach, oral immunotherapy. Sonia Azad shows us how it works.
So we'll get started. We'd been considering it for a while. Good girl. That's it.
After two scary experiences with daughters Chloe and Emma, who are allergic to peanuts, Christine Casson and her husband decided to try a risky but promising treatment.
We were both scared and nervous to do it. Ready?
Doctors give the girls small amounts of peanuts to help build a tolerance.
So you start off with a mixture of Kool-Aid and peanut protein or powder of some sort, and so they're doing it in a syringe, kind of like you give children medicine. Okay, here you go.
Christine brings the girls to Medical City Dallas once a week to increase their dose.
All right, good job.
And it'll take a great deal of patience. They'll be doing this for months.
Neither one of them had a reaction at all.
A recent study has shown that food oral immunotherapy in peanut allergic patients as young as 9 months old can effectively desensitize infants and toddlers.
Our success rate overall is 82%.
Already, Christine's girls have upped their doses.
Well, they're both eating actual peanuts now as their dose. Chloe is eating about 1/4 of a peanut right now. There's your dose.
At home, the girls eat their doses with dinner.
We actually have a little scale that we weigh the peanut on. Eventually, to pass the challenge at the end, they'll have to eat 24 peanuts in one sitting.
Even after completing the treatment, Chloe and Emma will have to eat 8 peanuts a day every day for the rest of their lives to maintain immunity.
I already feel less worried about my kids, even though we haven't crossed the finish line. We're not even halfway there yet. But it just feels good to be doing something about it.
I don't know all of it.
All of it?
Now, anyone who might be interested in the treatment should know this. Doctors say it works best with young children who have a history of potentially life-threatening allergic reactions to common foods like milk, eggs, peanuts, and tree nuts.
While the children in this story didn't have any sort of reaction, it is important to remember that there certainly is a risk involved with this treatment, and I think that brings up
well, that
some
would
of
be
your
my
questions.
first concern is, you know, if your child is allergic to peanut butter, you're asking me to give my child peanut butter on purpose in a controlled setting, whatever, to see what's going to happen. I'd rather that my child, if my child could die from this, potentially, and not from the controlled setting, but from peanut butter, let's just keep peanut butter away. And I'd rather go without peanut butter than put them at risk to go through it.
Yeah. Shelby
For
brings
me,
up
I don't want to put my kid at risk.
an interesting point of there are those who have eaten the food all their life, then all of a sudden they're allergic. So allergies change, and it's
absolutely. There are things that I'm not allergic to now that I was when I was a kid, and
Sure.
actually things that I am now that I wasn't when I was a kid. And I don't know. It would make me so nervous as a parent to do that. So.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, just another treatment. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All right, today's Brain Drops, I talked about dew points yesterday. Here's something that we get a lot during heat waves. Pictures of car thermometers showing crazy temperatures, right? So my friends at the Weather Channel did this story on why your car thermometer is wrong. The answer may be fairly obvious. They mount them behind the grill, and it's getting all the heat from the pavement. So the albedo, or the reflectivity of pavement, is low. As such, it's going to absorb a lot of the sun and then radiate it back. So these are pictures today in Phoenix. Phoenix is hot today, 110 degrees, but not like this. And you'll see this a lot. Another spot that you see at bank thermometers, different reason. The thermometer's in the sun. The official way is to measure it in the shade.
Interesting. All right, thanks, Keith. News Center at 5:30 starts right now.